Welcome to Tech Brothers with Amir. Today we are going to learn how to create static value parameter with default value in SSRS report. We will learn how to create a tabular report with single parameter. We will learn how to add available values to that parameter in SSRS, and then we are going to set a default value for that parameter. So let me take you to the SSMS SQL Server Management Studio and run my query. So it is returning as first name, last name, and some product name, item sold, and region. What we want to do, we want to use the region as a parameter. So let me copy this and go to the SSDT SQL Server Data Tools, and here first of all we have to have a shared data source. We can create embedded one in the report, but I recommend using the shared if you are pointing or using the same database over and over. So if we double click here, we can see the name of the data source, and here is the SQL Server, and this is the database. So for us it will work just fine because we are reading the data from the sales database. So cancel this out, go to report, hit right click here, add, and then a new item. Go to the report, and in the report provide the name. So I'm going to call this one single value static parameter. I'm calling this one as a static because the value of the parameter is not going to change. So let's say if we are providing 3 static values for this parameter, it will be always returning us only 3. It will never return us 4. So let's go to the data sources here and create embedded or use the shared one. In our case we are going to use the shared one because that's where our database table is. So we can use this shared. We don't need to embed that. Let's rename this one, call it DS sales. Now the next part is creating a data set. So right click, add data set, and here you will be using embedded data set as it will not be used in other reports. So let's give some name. So dset and call it sales total, and here you can go ahead and provide your query, or if you are using a store procedure you will be writing a store procedure. We will have another video on using the store procedure with parameters. Now in the select query you have to define a parameter. So we will be saying where region is equal to @. So once you say is equal to @, then you can provide any name of that parameter. In my case I can go ahead and say just region, or I can say region parameter. So it is totally my choice, whatever I want to say. So no big deal, but give some proper name. So when it will appear under the parameters here, you will see, oh okay, this is the region parameter. So fine, hit OK. Sorry, we have to select the data source here. Okay, good now. And let's bring the table here. So insert table, and now bring some fields here quickly. We don't have time, so let's go ahead and bring them real quick. Sold items and region. Now we have all those important fields. Let me drag it on this left side and then click here, and let's make it bold so we see at least this is our header, and give some background color. Let's give some, this color is fine. Now it's all good. Let's preview the report. Now you see that region parameter, that's the name. We said that region underscore parameter, so it took the prompt as region parameter, and here is our text box. So we have to write the value. If I will put the Europe, it is going to take that value and return me the records only for the Europe. If I will put Asia, it will return me records for Asia. But how our user would know that every time they have to type it? Sometime maybe there is user who will type something like this. He will say North America. He will keep putting North America and say, oh, it's not working. But he was missing a space. So how we are sure, like, okay, for each of the user we have to tell them, hey, these are the parameter values. So that's how they can be running the report. It will be waste of time typing these values here. But we know for sure our values are static. So these are the only 3 regions we are going to work in. Some scenario, let's think about a sex. We have male and female. In that case, there is no third sex will be coming in the word. So we will be saying just if we are using static values, we can use male and female. So that's very simple, right? Now in those cases when the values will not be changing, you can use those values as static values, but I recommend using dynamic. So I'm going to tell you how to use the static here, but we will do in the next video as a static dynamic. Let's go to the parameters, click on design, go to parameters, and we see region parameter. So go to the properties. First of all, change the prompt. Region parameter is not really great, so instead of saying enter or select, in this case we will be saying choose region, because now we are going to provide them the values by some static values we will be providing them. Here allow on blank values, null and all that, we are not going to use these. It is visible fine, and it is a text type, so that's correct. Go to available values, and here as of now it is none. That's why when we click here, it always asks us okay, provide me the value. So we are going to provide some value, so we will make a drop down for these three values. So we're going to go back to the parameter, and here when say available values, there is no value available. We are going to make some values available to it. So specify value, that means provide some static values, add them, or get the values from the query. That's more like a dynamic. If values will change in the table or from wherever you are reading, then the value for the parameter will change. We are going to do this one in next video. So specify values where you are adding some static values. So let's go ahead and add in the label. Here you can select the label, so that will be shown to you when in the drop down. Okay, let's say we'll say EU region, and here we have to provide the actual value, so it is a EU or Europe. And next I'm going to add, maybe I will call the NA region, and this is North America. That's the actual value that's in the table. And if this value will be provided in the where class, that should return us some result. So this is just to see, label is just to see for us. And we have a AS region, and here I can call this one Asia, because that's the value we have in the table. We are all good here. So let's go back here. Now preview the report. We make much improvements here. We say choose a region, and here select a value. And here you will see EU region and A region and AS region. When we click EU region, the value it is taken is Europe. So when we click here, the value is Europe is passed to the parameter. Now we review the report. So the data is returned for the Europe region. So now if I go ahead and do the North America region, fine, it is coming correct. And if I do Asia region, it is coming correct. Now one thing, if you see here, there are only three values, and these are static values. If somebody put or have the record in the table for maybe Africa, so we will never able to see those records, because we are always selecting the values for three regions. That's why I was asking or telling okay, if these are static parameter values. Now that's fine. There are scenarios, as I said, that such as sex, female and male, those are not going to be having another value. In those cases, static value work just fine. Now let's go to designer, and what we want to do, every time we run our report, we want to select NA region data very first time, and then if the user want to change it, we will let him change it. So we are going to go to design, go to the parameter value again, and then here in the default value we are going to provide some value. As of now there is no default value. We are going to say specify value, and we are using some values what we have created. So here, and go to the drop down, and we have these Europe, North America and Asia. We can select any of them, and in our case we want to select North America value and hit OK. We are not getting from the query, so I will show you how to get the values from the query. Hit OK. Now preview the report, and if you see that North America is selected by default. So very first time when we run the report, we will see North American data, and then we can go ahead and change to EU and preview the data, or take a look on the data on any of the region what we want. So this is the way you will be creating your static report, static parameter report. So it is single parameter with static values. So thanks very much for watching this video, and I'm going to see you in the next video.